Possum Patty here, and it's Cinco de Mayo. It's a beautiful day. Temperature is in the low 60s. There's a bit of wind out. Steady wind between 5 and 15 miles per hour with gusts up to over 20 miles per hour. And the winds are out of the west. I thought I'd take a walk down the lane to check on some flowers along the road. The first thing I found on the front porch was a red maple Samara. Bright red. It was a tiny one. This is about the actual size. Now this is called a simple dry fruit, and the seed is inside. And it has these little wings. So when this part is dry and it's released from the tree, it can float a distance away from the mother tree so that the new tree has space to grow. Along the lane, I found the blooming bellworts. I believe this is the same plant that I journaled about last year when it was in bloom, because I put growing along the lane. And this was April 23rd, 2019. I'm out along the lane, and I found the sessile bellwort, yellow flower, blooming here. Now I believe this is the area I saw them last year, and they're much further along than the ones in the woods. Looks like there's some of that bellwort over here too. No flowers. Now this one's in the shade. Here's one in the sun. Sessile bellwort. And I also found my first red maple Samara come down off the trees. A little tiny one. Now the ones that were in the woods, I didn't even see a bud on yet. So maybe it's warmer along the lane than it is in the woods. But these were definitely blooming, and the ones in the woods were not. All the little birch trees and some of the canopy trees were starting to leaf out. And I was a little bit excited about that because I'm waiting for these trees to turn green. Well, we made some grand progress here on leafing out in the last 2 or 3 days. There's a little birch tree there. And looking up, we have leaves. Yay! On the way back down the lane, I passed 2 flowers that had last year's stalks and this year's new rosette of leaves. There's a couple examples of looking at last year's stalks to identify a plant. We have these leaves coming up. And we have last year's stalk. And it looks like this might be an aster. So I'm going to stop here a second and draw this. Now the first one looked like an aster species. And I looked in my Wildflowers and Winter Weeds by Lauren Brown. And she has several aster species in here, but she didn't say what they are. But the one I was looking at looked most like this one, whatever that one is. So I stopped and sketched that, and then the next one was some black-eyed Susans. And here's one more example. Here we have rosette of leaves and last year's stalk to identify it by. And this one is black-eyed Susan. Oh, a lot of seeds on here still. Should plant those. All right, I'm going to stop here and draw this, filling up my journal page already. She has that one in her book also. They have a little cone-like flower made of seeds at the top. And the thing about the black-eyed Susans, or Rudbeckia, is the leaves are fuzzy to the touch. So this is a typical Possum Patty page with walking along and just putting flowers on the page as I find them. Thanks for coming along today on this little spring adventure. Bye-bye.